It's honestly crazy how people will call someone a fascist because of their opinions, and not the person who killed them because of their opinions. But I guess that's what happens when you live in a universe where the government is just a bunch of fascists. Of course I'm referring to Hobie Brown's universe in Across the Spider-Verse. I honestly think his inclusion was one of the best parts of the film, as he brought out the best of Gwen and Miles, while not overstaying his welcome to the point of being insufferable. And I guess Sony thought that too because now they're making a movie out of him, with one of the main writers being the guy who voiced the character. Now, due to me being both impatient about the movie's release date, as well as slightly arrogant about my own writing abilities, I'm going to take the next 10 minutes or so to give my own concept of what I think the movie should be. As always, like the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this pre-write of mine and want to see me do more of it. Hell, maybe one of these days I'll even rewrite one specific piece of Spider-Man media that was heavily screwed over in terms of writing and direction. One day, Tasm 2, one day.
Hello darkness, my old friend.
Alright, let's not waste any more time and get into the pre-write, starting with the opening fight. In my last video, I went over how one of the post-credit scenes could be Spider-Punk fighting his own version of the Sinister Six. And since I still like that idea, that's going to be the opening scene we're working with. I mostly want it to be edited in the same fashion as Miles' introduction in Across the Spider-Verse, with punk rock music playing in the background. As for the Sinister Six members, I also said that I wanted them to be original villains. So here are the ones I came up with. I'm thinking all cyborg villains that were made by the same creator who's a hired gun would work best here. It fits into the originality, and it will be interesting to see how a group of robots armed with machine guns and various weapons would face off against Spider-Punk. Their fight will span across several rooftops, and will ultimately end with Spider-Punk turning them all into a scrap heap and leaving them on the side of the road. No, seriously, he actually does that. And after his battle, he pays for a drink and a sandwich and looks at a campaign poster for one of the presidential candidates, putting him in a sour mood as he'll swing off, giving us the first 3 minutes of the film. The next 2 minutes will be showing a day in the life of your average inconsistent Spider-Punk, kind of like those daily lifestyle videos you put on in the background while you work on some webtoons or coding. A day in the life of Hobie Brown is exhilarating if you want to live life on the edge, wondering what your next move is. Or borderline terrifying if you're a guy with OCD that loves routine. Basically, his life is kind of a mess depending on how you look at it. He moves from apartment to apartment after living there for a few months. He'll date the same girl on and off again, and will even switch bands from time to time to mix things up. He takes his mantra of inconsistency pretty literally, which I think works because everything I described sounds exactly like something he would do. And for the next 2 minutes, we'll get a montage similar to Tasm 2 on how Hobie lives his day-to-day inconsistent life while being Spider-Punk, dealing with robberies, muggings, and purse snatchers, all while making a new song. By the end, he'll see another poster of the presidential candidate he saw earlier, with the tagline reading, "Don't settle for less and vote for more." Hobie will look at it with disgust and swing away. Kind of like how you would look at this guy if you saw him on the street and knew who he was. Despite my mentioning of Hobie's disdain for the presidential candidate Emerson Moore, he's not the main villain of the story, and in fact, Oliver Price is.
Who?
He's a guy who lives in the upper middle class of society. He has a 2-parent household, 2 brothers and 1 sister, with parents that do their best to give their children everything they didn't have when they grew up, which includes a school that provides a great education. Now you would think with such a perfect life that Oliver would not only be grateful, but probably end up turning into the next Mr. Beast, to which you'd be wrong, as the parents provided not just a great setup to life, but also a very strict routine and disciplined lifestyle, basically giving you the quantity of what you could have in life without any quality, and this drives Oliver mad. mad, as living such a pitch-perfect life on paper, while upholding yourself to a standard so high since you were a kid, develops not only a form of imposter syndrome, but also a need to deviate from the norm, to do something out of routine for once, and be inconsistent compared to everyone else, which leads into how he gets his powers. I'm thinking of something similar to this, where Spider-Punk fights a minor villain while Oliver's family is in the vicinity. As for what his powers are, I'm thinking weather-based powers, where he can fluctuate the state of his body to match any environment or weather that he wants to mimic, similar to Metamorpho in Superman. For example, he'll be able to shoot icicles from his hands and turn one of his arms into the inside of a volcano. And if you really want to get creative with it, then he can also turn his lower half into a tornado while he shoots acid rain from his fingertips. Now you may be asking why out of any superpower I would want this, and the reason for that is because I want Oliver to be a twisted representation of Hobie's inconsistency, to show the viewer how a philosophy and or lifestyle can be weaponized for malicious intent.
You know what, we basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that? They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats.
By focusing on what kids are saying in group chat, grow up.
Now I mentioned earlier how Emerson Moore wasn't going to be the main villain, so what role is he going to be? Well, I figure the best fit for him is to be in the background, slowly growing his influence. Through his campaign, he'll meet various low-class, middle-class, and high-class individuals within Old York, whom all of a sudden after meeting him love everything he does and urges everyone else to vote for him. There will be several times throughout the movie where you'll hear people talking about Emerson and how he has this way of attracting people to him, both big and small, with some conspiracies being that he made a deal with the devil to be so likable. But in reality, it's actually him using his powers to mentally control the people he talks to, implanting a fungus on these people similar to cordyceps, appearing as a lump on the person's body, but allows Emerson to control these people, specifically through a vocal command that he has to give to them. And the first thing he decided to do with these powers is to use them to run for president. Not gonna lie, it's not the worst thing he could have done with these powers. But since Emerson Moore is selling himself as a president, I might as well sell myself to you. And no, I don't mean it in that context. What I'm referring to is that I want to hit 1,000 subscribers by the time Christmas Eve rolls around. Mostly so that I can prove to both myself and my family that I'm not a failure and I'm actually self-employed. So do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button to help support my dream. Or else I'll have Thanos or God forbid Ninja call you at 3 AM. By this point in the movie, both Hobie and Oliver will be shown at their lowest point. Hobie's rock bottom will be shown in the form of a flashback with his parents, and how they also lived by the philosophy of inconsistency, but that inconsistency didn't translate well to real life. Oliver's rock bottom will be in the form of getting kicked out by his family due to having his powers, as they can't even look at him as a part of their family due to how different he is from the Oliver they know and love. And with his life taking a drastic turn into rock bottom, this causes him to self-implode, or as the kids would say, crash out, and Spider-Punk has to be the one to stop him. Because if the police couldn't handle this, then what makes you think they could handle fucking temper?
君の虜になってしまえばきっとこの夏は充実するのモード噂の Dreaming Girl 忘れないで
Because I don't want to destroy someone's fucking life! Because I don't want to destroy somebody's life! Because I don't want to destroy somebody's life! Because I don't want to destroy somebody's life!
Okay. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
No, I don't!
You just said here,
I'll destroy
I
mine,
fucking...
While Spider-Punk is dealing with temper throughout the movie, we'll also see some riots and protests happening in the background. This is due to the radicals on one side being manipulated by the news outlets to think that Emerson Moore is the devil for political points, which is kind of true because the people who distrust him start looking into his shady past, as every politician has one, and discover some not so good things about him and his time on a certain island. However, Mr. Moore uses this to his advantage by hiring a person to attempt an assassination on him in exchange for his mother's medical bills never being an issue again. That way he can use the status of a martyr to help him win the election, which ends up working, I might add, as his opponent didn't condemn the political violence and fell for the trap of moral depravity, which doesn't sit right with most people, believe it or not, because if you can call me a fascist for having an opinion, but you end up trying to kill me over having said opinion, then who's the real fascist here? Future Nightmare editing this here. Before I have anyone in my comments getting their panties in a twist over the similarities to Emerson Moore and the current president, or that comment about fascism and Charlie Kirk, I just want to say,
don't you dare, Ned. Do not you dare.
This is a freaking movie, for Christ's sake. I shouldn't have to worry about it getting politicized when the whole point is to tell a story and escape from reality for 1 hour and 50 minutes. Stop bringing real world politics into this shit and enjoy the fucking show. Some minor villains would try to take advantage of this chaos to commit crimes, thinking they can get away with it, but Spider-Punk will be there, saving his love interest Alice Withers in the process, as her and other civilians got caught in the crossfire, showing that no matter how big or small the crime is, Spider-Punk will always be there to stop them. The final battle will be on one of the bridges for Old York. Spider-Punk will use his wits and comedic timing to get one over on Temper, who is still trying to figure out the limits of his own powers throughout the fight. And at the end, he'll essentially turn into a hailstorm that injures a ton of people, including Spider-Punk himself, making him look like this. Oliver will essentially overextend his body, giving Hobie a weakness to exploit, as he'll trick him to turn into a pool of water and capture him in a bottle. And while that sounds like a dumb way to stop a villain, keep in mind the Spot literally kicked his own butt. In the final montage of the movie, I'm thinking something similar to the end of Invincible Season 1, where we see glimpses of several villains or maxing their lineup as they get ready for the inevitable sequel to this movie, while Hobie himself creates some new gadgets for his web shooters to get better at dealing with unpredictable villains. Hell, you could even have some Spider-Verse cameos thrown in the mix. I just hope that if the actual Spider-Punk movie does include this type of montage, then it actually goes somewhere, unlike TASM 2.
You told me once that I was crazy. I said, baby girl, I know, but I can't let you go away. So don't you get me started now. I want it, yes, I don't want maybes, cause they leave me where you found me. So don't leave. Ooh, I just love the way you got me feeling. Love you feeling. Feels like ooh. Take away the pain, baby, I'm feeling. Baby, I'm feeling. I don't need anything more. Be the wave of the shore. Crashing all over me. I want to go.
For the last minute of the movie, Hobie will be traversing Old York, ultimately landing on the rooftop of a cafe building. He'll change outfits and go inside, finding his date Alice, remembering how giving into one's vices and lack of consistency could hurt not just themselves, but also the people they care about, deciding that some consistency in his life wouldn't hurt to experience. Now let's get into my final thoughts before I cry at the realization that I'm single. Overall, I think I did a stellar job in writing Spider-Punk his own movie, even spectacular perhaps. Then I guess punk rock will have to do the trick. I wanted the main villain to be exactly what the main villains in the Sam Raimi movies were, twisted versions of our main character to show us what the right answer is to the question posed in the story. The question of this story being, is inconsistency the best way to live? Remember to like and subscribe to the channel if you like this video, check out my Patreon if you got $3 to waste, and thanks for watching.